Yo, 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 welcome to Crate 808, and today we're joined by an unadulterated rap legend, the guy who'll flip your car over like Long Island steroid abusers while getting more rowdy than Suffolk County. He's the old man in the club with a headache upset, still sniffing pancake syrup from Aunt Jemima, the man who defined rap flow, was an icon in your iPod, and now all his heroes are dead people. R.A. the Rugged Man is in the house. How are you doing, bro?
That was one hell of an intro.
Oh, whoa. Man. Mate, when we get a legend on, man, I need to go in. Bro, how are you feeling? How are you doing, man? Lockdown vibes, coronavirus, how you doing?
Oh, today's a tough one, you know, with the quarantine, you can't cry because the whole world's going through it, but certain days are a little tougher than others, you know? So I'm a little beat up today, like, you know. So.
It's all good, man. Hopefully we'll pick you up with a bit of love for this new album you dropped, man. Before we do that, though, every guest who pops on asking the same question. What's the least hip-hop thing, man, you've done in the last 24 hours?
Oh, you know, I have kids with a woman and you know, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. So, you know, she's really strict German and it's very non-hip hop in this house. It's like, get your elbows off the table, you know? So, you know, don't say that. So, okay, I got you. So,
I feel you.
So all the say what you want, go crazy. And then I come here and it's like, I'm in a disciplined quarantine, you know?
Damn. It's hard because it's like a caged tiger, man. The RA that we know and love usually go in. So, but you know, this is life, isn't it?
Yeah, they were saying like people are talking about doing drive-in concerts. Like, you know, you could drive up to the concert, and I think they already did one in Germany, possibly. And I'm like, can I jump on the cars? Could I fucking break shit? Can I rip the antennas off and slap people? Do I really want to just have people sit in the car and watching me from far, you know?
I feel you, man. I feel you. I saw a few videos like that, actually. And you're right, in Germany, I think they had like a rave, like a house rave with like just tons of cars. But, mate, humans, man, they adapt to their environments, right?
Yeah. Well, some humans. Some people never adapt. You all know I'm slow at adapting. You know, I'm the old boxing guy. I'm the old hip hop guy.
Bro, never change, man.
You know, it takes me a little bit of time to adapt to, you know, the next part of the world, you know. So,
I know what you mean, already.
Especially when your whole career, your whole living is, you know, 25 years of touring the world, and that's how you make all of your money is touring. So now they say, hey, do you have any ideas of how you're going to get money now? You go, no fucking idea, you know.
Shit, it's
tough time for human beings, you know.
Yeah, and plus obviously with a new record that's just come out, and I'm guessing you probably had live shows just everywhere ready to go. So I feel you, man. I feel you. It's a tough one for artists, and especially independent artists and people like that. But if I can give you any kind of solace, RA, it's the fact that hearing someone like you come out now with a new record that absolutely bangs, as someone who's in lockdown over here, can't put into words, man. That means a lot. As in, we can vibe to this. It gets you out of that mental space that this, you know, it's not a great world right now. So when you hear something like this, it's like, including the videos and you've gone full in on this album, as in, you know, you've really thought out your concepts, you've really thought out what you want to do, and then on top of that, you have the entertaining value of the videos and you on social networking, just like talking, and it's kind of nice to see an artist who's still at the top of the game. Do you know what I
mean? Yeah. We worked hard on the record. We tried hard, you know?
Yeah, man.
But I made the album to be a live stage show, you know? And we had video shoots with me, planned for me and Immortal Technique, which would have been huge. And we had video shoots planned for me and Inspectah Deck. And we were going to go to Delaware and shoot with Jazzy Jeff. Everybody's plans are kind of stop motion, you know. So, and rest in peace to some folks that didn't make it through these times as well, you know. It's just crazy times.
Yeah, man. Definitely. It's a test we've got to get through, man. Definitely.
The world goes through it, you know. That's what the world is. The world is about pandemics and world wars and hurricanes and earthquakes and tsunamis, and the world is about loss, you know. We you know, people raise children and they lose them. People get raised by parents and they lose them. That's what we go through as human beings. So a pandemic ain't nothing new. It's just the way that what we're responding to this pandemic is new.
And is it like affecting your mental health and stuff like that, do you think? Or I don't know, because I find myself a little bit more like anxious, a lot more anxious about things that I shouldn't really be. But I've got a little boy as well, and like you've got kids. I don't know if that adds to it or what, but how are you dealing with it mentally?
Well, at first it was helping my mental health. I was almost at ease for the first month because I was with my kids every day, and I'm like, all right. But then reality kicks in and goes, hey, what are you going to do? How do you feed your children? How do you, set your kids up for the future? Well, what's the next step? You can't tour. What do you do? Yeah, we could sell a little merch. We could do this. We have to recoup off the album. I spent a lot in the studio getting musicians and mixes and masterings. And, so you go out on the road and you make a ton of money. And now you go, what's the next step? Everybody, hey world, what's the next step for any of us? So, and if the whole world stops, that's part of the world too. Like, one day you could be a champion of the world, best athlete, and then you get hit by a car. You can't do it no more. That's but it's not always easy to accept that life is changing. But life changes. So
yeah, I feel you, man. It's interesting you talking like this, and it's a lot more like there's a lot of introspection in what you've just said, and there's a lot of like a bit of stepping back from the situation and looking at the world as it is and yourself and your family life. And as you talk there about loss and the human experience, basically, if we're looking at this album, I'm amazed at how much like growth on here. You got tracks like a bit more lighthearted about life of the party, but obviously you've got Afterlife, Wondering, tracks like this. You talk about politics, which I'd love to go into with you later as well, but you also talk a lot about that, like the human existence right now and like what you've gone through. And I was thinking, as an artist who's been around since the 90s, was it hard to like revisit some of that stuff?
No, it's if you have the experience inside you, to me, it's easy to write about it because the story's already told. You lived it, or you saw it happen, and so it's already in you. It's not like if you're writing a science fiction comedy and you gotta create all these characters from the very jump, and all these different scenarios. It's like, oh. I've been sick the last 2 weeks, and a lot of comments in the thread. I've been getting tweeted all week too. I've been watching your interviews, and these coughs do not sound good. RA, but I got the COVID test too. They said I don't have it. So, and everyone's like, get retested. That cough is not healthy. And I'm like, yo, man, I've been sick before. The life experience is easy to write about to me because the picture's already been painted. The universe painted them. It all happened. So you pick up your pen, and when you share the life experience, other people in the world enjoy it because they feel like, oh, there's other people going through that. Oh, I'm not the only one. Or some people will be like, oh, I thought I had it bad. These problems are worse. Or some people be like, those problems are terrible and I have those same problems. And it helps me relate because other people are going through it with me. So that's easy to write for me. Yeah, that stuff is easy to write.
That's good stuff, man. Well, let's just jump from the album cover and then the first few tracks as well, because, I mean, these deeper questions, I'd love to pull on that string a little bit. But if I'm just going from the jump off, first of all, the album cover, I've got a little lad who's 2 years old, and he stumbled across this album cover. And he could not stop looking at it, man. I don't know what that means about my boy or that album cover, but it's really worrying because you've got a massive gun, but he's like, he loves that. And then you look at, like, I'm one of them guys who looks at the track list maybe a little bit beforehand, before I listen to the whole thing. And the talent on here, man. Right. 7 years in the making, then you bring this lineup out. Ghostface Killah, Prince Paul, Psycho Les, G Rap, Atmosphere, Jazzy Jeff, Onyx, mate, Deck, MOP, Ice-T. Right, there's so many people on here that if as a kid, I would have just been like, holy shit, this is like the album. It's always like a compilation album, but the thread you have running through it of yourself, that intro track, man, that intro track. What made you think when you were making this and you came out full energy, what was the driving force to you putting this out in the first place? Because it's been a minute. It's been like, what, 7 years, right, since your last album?
Yeah, it was a little less than 7 years. between albums, but I wasn't working on this album for 7 years, you know. I started working on this a couple of years back. But yeah, the intro, the last album, Legends Never Die, I had the intro, Still Digging with Buck, where I introduced the album with a rhyme. So this album, you know, everything on this album has to be better than the last album. Everybody loved the intro to the last album. So I said, okay, on this one, I got to top that. I started writing, and then I had so many bars for it. I was like, we got to cut it short. Then I was like, nah, don't cut it short. Just rock. So I did the whole verse over one beat, and I was like, nah, that's too long. Then I was like, yeah, but what do you cut? Everything kind of works nicely in there. So I said, nah, let's just produce it. Let's just produce the thing. Well, you know, the rhyme is dope. It's just that the beat is boring for that length of a rhyme. So let's produce the vocals. So I got in touch with a lot of my producer friends and said, hey, we need beats that are 79 BPMs to fit this in. And then I had a horn player. My cousin's husband came in and played the intro horns, and we just produced the shit out of the intro and kept the rhyme the same length, you know.
At the beat switches are sick, bro.
Yeah, it doesn't feel long at all. It feels like a blink of an eye. Boom, boom, boom. You know, that's what production is all about, you know.
But that's the thing on this album, the production. What I'm talking about when you definitely have thought this through. It's a fully formed thing. This is no mixtape or thrown together in like, you know, a week album. This is like, oh, you've actually genuinely thought this stuff through. Who was making the beats on that then? Because I don't actually know the.
There's a lot of different producers on there, but it's definitely me and Chris Conway, my engineer, definitely, you know, oversaw it and kind of, you know, in rock music producing, we almost produced a lot of it, you know, if you go for that word of producing, you know, like arrangement and, you know, bringing in the instrumentation, like we did all of that, the live musicians, the drummers, you know, we brought all of that stuff in, you know, production wise, you know, we started, you know, a lot of people came with some really dope tracks. And we used a lot of tracks from a lot of producers, but then we just made it all kind of fit, so it all made sense, you know, rather than just, oh, it's a dope beat, there's a dope beat. We made it all make sense, and kind of, even though the tracks were sonically different at times, we still made the boom bap, you know, mix well with the electro, and we made everything kind of work nicely. So I think Chris Conway's a genius. He's my engineer, and he mixes and records me, and he just makes everything sound, you know, so well rounded. And then Joe, my man Joe, mastered it, and he killed it too.
Yeah, man. No, absolutely sick.
Hey guys, this is Jerobi from A Tribe Called Quest, and you're listening to the Crate 808 podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, crate808.com. Go check it out. Peace.
If we're looking at the lyrics on that and the way you're changing your flow, it's peak RA. This is exactly what you tune in for. You get the substance and the context as well, but that first track is pretty much that. And then you have stuff like All Systems Go, which is also like the bars on that. Just, I mean, incredible. Breath control, incredible. If you're writing like that, are you someone who sits there like kind of painstakingly doing it, or does it come very naturally to you, or are you quite patient, or do you get angry with it?
Well, when I'm doing a song like, say, All Systems Go, where it's kind of like a freestyle, old school freestyle, not off the top of the head, but what freestyle meant back in the day, freestyle, you know, where you go from topic to topic and just kind of murder the beat and go from here to there, you know. But, you know, we still kept the spaceship theme, you know, Mothership Party like 99, you know, All Systems Go. Like, so we had all these loose lyrical moments. And, you know, even when we had rap references, we made them from space. Wiggy, 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 you know, from Jam On It, you know. But a song like that, sometimes I'll sit in a room and I write like 8 or 9 verses, you know, rather than just writing what I write, record it, and the song's done. You know, people would love that. I do that all the time too. But something like that where you're like, okay, we're going to floss a little bit. I write 8 or 9 verses. You know, I go, okay, these 4 bars are awesome. These 4 bars are awesome. These 4 bars are awesome. And you use the best 4 bars in every verse. And all of a sudden you got like 3 viciously incredible verses because, you know, you took the best parts of 8 or 9 verses, you know. Sometimes I'll do that. Not often, but like a song like All Systems Go that's playful, where you get away with just kind of bouncing from subject to subject and having fun. You can't do that with a song like Afterlife or Wondering or Firstborn, obviously. But for a song like All Systems Go, which is like this electro, strange rocket ship missile, edit it all and make it into one thing, you know.
Do you find that? Do you enjoy that more? Sometimes, I don't know, if I'm good at something and sometimes I can just bang it out and it's like, yeah, that's done. Do you enjoy doing that more still? Like, you've been in this game for a long time. Do you still enjoy that?
Well, I don't sometimes, because sometimes I'll write a rhyme in 5 minutes and freestyle it. And then, you know, back in the 90s, people would buy it off me. And then you don't know how fanatical these fans are. Then 25 years later, they're asking you to do these songs that you fucking, you know, basically fucking sneezed out, you know, like you didn't give a fuck. You know, half was freestyle, half was written. It was, you made the whole entire song, the beat, the rhyme, the mix, the hook in 45 minutes. And then the whole world, you're performing it 20-something years later. Hey, can you do that song? You're like, that song's the worst song I ever did. But it's not, because sometimes people like vibes, you know? So some of the songs that people really loved from my earlier days that I knew I could have did a lot more with and made better, people loved them. So I used to critique them and be like, that's not really my shit. And then you go, nah, don't critique your own shit like that. That's the fans. If the fans love it, there's something that they feeling inside you that you did. So let them love that. Don't crush that for them. Let them decide if they like your joint or not, you know?
That's a lot more mature. I mean, this is we're all getting older and stuff like that. So naturally that kind of thinking comes to you as you get older. Yeah. I mean, when you say stuff like that, and I think art is owned by the fans or the consumers at some level when this stuff goes out. Are you talking like, I remember Stanley Kubrick, that was one of the things I remember hearing you in a few interviews back in the day saying, you know, oh yeah, I kind of just spat that, but everyone loves it. I mean, that is the track that I first ever heard you on. And in the UK, getting things a little bit slower, a little bit younger, that was the track that made me really, really dig. And is that one of them tracks you would say?
Oh, it's definitely one of them. That's one that went on the Soundboming 2 album. So what did it do? 350,000 copies, maybe 400,000 copies. Had Eminem and Mos Def and Talib Kweli and Pharoah Monch and Sadat X and Common and, you know, all these commercial rappers on it. And it was a rhyme that I basically freestyled and wrote half, you know, and just rapped whatever. And at Rawkus the next day, they were like, yo, that shit's hard. We'll buy that off you. I was like, sure, take it. I need the money.
Shit.
And then all of a sudden it's, you know, 400,000 copies, 350, I don't know how many, hundreds of thousands of copies are sold and millions of people listening to it. And you go, damn, man, if I knew it was going to blow like that, I would have gave them my best, you know? So, but like I said, there's people who, it was their favorite song on the whole album. And, you know, it's a song they want you to do for years. So, you know, you let people have their own opinions, you know?
Yeah, I feel you, man.
Yo, what up, y'all? This is DJ Premier, and you're checking out the Crates 808 podcast. I put an S on it because there's more than one record in the crate, you know what I'm saying? So that's how we dig, that's how we play, and that's what real DJs do. You heard? That's why it goes down. We out here.
If we're looking at other tracks on here, man, Dragonfire and Slayers Club, because this album kind of, it's very, very modern in what you're saying, but it also has like, what's the word? Like you kind of wear that badge of honor that, you know, that we're from the 90s, mate. And this is what posse cuts were. Like, this is when you heard people just going off, you were like, okay, yeah, these are the tracks that, I don't know, ended up repeating a lot. And I still do. You all kill it. The features are great. If I'm looking at something like Dragonfire, just break down, man. How did something like that, how did a track like that come from? Well, how did you even think, I want to do that?
Well, you know it's a good posse cut when everybody has a different opinion who killed it the best, you know? Like when you do a posse cut and everyone's like, oh, RA killed everyone, or oh, Ghostface killed everybody, or oh, G Rap killed everybody. You know, and it's all the same opinion. You go, it's like almost like a spotlight for one artist or something, you know? This was a posse cut where like Ghost had the best energy. He came over, you know, it was perfect for the track, you know? And then Masta Killah had like those really like, you didn't get any more Wu-Tang classic than Masta Killah's verse, you know? So Wu-Tang had like, damn, we got the old school, you know, Wu-Tang sound. Yeah. And then I came in with the rapid fire and some real intricate lyric stuff, you know, and then G Rap comes in and it's G Rap.
Yeah.
And he's murdering it. So everybody had, to me, I think G Rap ate the track. But then some comments be like, G Rap didn't do as good as Ghost. I'm like, really? But and then people like Ghost killed it the most, and people be like, yo, Rugged Man ate that whole track, and then people be like, yo, Masta Killah was the classic. So it was like really like everybody had who they loved the most on the track, and plus it wasn't one of them tracks where it was all about a bar fest of who could outbar. It was just like everybody's gonna rhyme their ass off to the energy of the track, and it was just a dope song. Like, and then we had Extreme, the reggae cat. He came in, and to me, I thought he killed all four of the rappers. He was
serious?
The way he came in, the yard man, spit fire, I was like, yo, like when he went in the booth, the young boy, I was like, damn, that was like my favorite shit in the whole record.
Yeah.
And then Carnage did all the beatboxing, and then Diamond J from EPMD, he calls himself DJ Diamond, the artist now. He did all the scratching on it.
Damn.
So it just had all the elements, and that's all a live band. That was produced by Shroom, and the live band was called the Missing Channel.
Oh,
so
snap.
it just had a lot of dope people involved in making that track dope, and it worked,
Damn. Yeah, absolutely. And then if you're talking Slayers Club, is that kind of the same thing? Is that how you approached it? Where you were like, I want these certain people on it?
Now, Slayers Club was more, I wanted a rah-rah mosh pit, white boy, punch you in your face. When the beat comes on in the fucking club, everybody's fighting, them rah-rah white boy mosh pit joints,
Love them.
Like my boy Paz got shit like that. Like the last album we did, Sam Peckinpah, me and Paz, and it was influenced by some of Paz's stuff. So I know when that comes on in a festival or a party, people are gonna start fighting. So I needed something like that on my album, but I was kind of feeling a more soulful world this album. I didn't know how to get, and then I said, you know what? Let's just do a Stomp 'em Out posse cut. I said, what's the best way to get motherfuckers fighting? Vinny, let's bring Vinny in. Let's bring MOP in. Let's bring Onyx in. And then as I was putting it together, then I thought, Ice-T.
Yeah.
I hit up Ice, and he was like, yo, you made the call. I'm there. Let's rock.
Mate, that is the respect you have in the game. Think about that. Did you ever think you could just call Ice-T up, bang, he's going to come on your album? It's amazing.
Yeah, it was clear. He's such a dope dude, too. And Brand Nubian, because they had the anthem for beating people up. Punks jump up to get beat down. So you're doing a beat down, punks jump up type record, you need Brand Nubian on there,
Yeah, man.
Then I brought in the murderers, Chino and Chris, and I think we got a little really dope, one of the better posse cuts of the year,
Yeah, 100%, absolutely, man. When you're saying that, like, this kind of a soulful album, and where do I do this posse cut? The reason I think that works now more than sometimes in the past is because of playlist culture, bro. As in playlist culture. Now, people do just cherry pick tracks, and like that track now can exist in so many different playlists compared to probably the whole album. Whereas the other tracks, like Firstborn and stuff like that, can probably exist on other playlists. So I think the good thing about this album is that you just went for wide range spectrum. You didn't really just narrow it down. That's another thing with this album. Fuck a seven track EP. This delivers on lots of different levels, and I thought it took me a minute to kind of get through it, but yeah, I mean, I love doing that. So I think there's some bonus points on how you did that, man. Definitely.
Yeah, well, they all said when I had that many songs, they said, yo, don't be stupid. Make money. Put out 2 albums. Put one out and then put another one out in 6 months. Cut it in half, man. 11 tracks, 10 tracks, 10. You got 2 albums.
Yeah.
Don't put out 22 tracks. Don't be stupid. I hadn't hit the fans with shit for a lot of years. So I said, fuck it. Give them a double album, man. Let them get it all, So, and when the album drops, I want to make a classic. I want to hit them at every angle, and motherfuckers will know this is a classic, And I give everybody is fed what they want, There's a little bit of everything for all my fans. I could have done, put all the serious songs on one album, and did like Wondering and Afterlife and Who Do We Trust and Malice of Mammon. And I could have done this really serious adult content type of album. And then I could have took all the silly tracks, Hate Speech and Legendary Loser and Big Snatch and, made a whole kind of album, and people would have been fine with that. But it wouldn't have been a classic album. It would have been two cool albums, you know?
Yeah.
I think this, with all the wide range of every emotion and every style, I just gave them a lot more. And I know some people, we don't like long albums. Oh, well, short attention span. I don't give a shit. This is what I felt. This is the art I wanted to give you. So, you know, my fans are happy as fuck. I'm not into the short attention span thing, you know? It's like, if a film works, Once Upon a Time in America works at 4 hours, and when you do the edited version of it, the film sucked.
Yeah.
You know, they made like an hour and a half or 2 hour version of it. It was terrible.
Yeah.
You know, there's a movie called Possession.
Oh man, what a film.
Oh, you know the film? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Polish director and Isabella Janey and Sam Neill, and
she's amazing in it.
they made an American version, cut it down to 90 minutes, added some special effects, and it was terrible.
Yeah. Oh, they added special effects in that as well.
They put little stupid like 80s type of effects. But then the director comes in, makes his own cut, and the film's the way it was supposed to. And it's like one of my favorite movies of all time. But if you watch the original version, you'd be like, this fucking movie sucks. You know, but so sometimes you want to, if some people have short attention span and don't want to sit through the 2, 3, 4 hours of a movie, then they don't have to. They could watch something short, you know. So.
Again, though, man, it's that thing. You've got a demographic and you appeal to that demographic. We're all used to listening to big projects, I feel, as people who've come from that era. But also, you get that whole, like I said, playlist culture. They could hear one of them stomp them out tracks and then travel to the album, and bang, they get a lot of different stuff. So I think it works, man. I mean, hopefully it really caters and grows that fan base, and you'll see once the shows start kicking off again, you know, you might see that actually reflected.
Yes, you're rocking with the best. This is the one and only Just Blaze. Right now, you're checking out the Crate 808 podcast. Remember to hit up crate808.com, like, comment, subscribe, and all of that. Peace.
When we're looking at a bit more soul in this album, as you just said, first of all, Firstborn, it just made me think, big up anyone who's got kids and they're trying to make an album, because I fucking struggle trying to do a podcast. Like, I can't imagine what it's like to sit down and think, right, I've got to write down this lyric, I've got to arrange this, I've got to arrange this, and you've got kids on you. So big up on that front.
It was tough with 2 babies, yeah. Me and my lady, she don't have family here. My family are in the States. Her family's 2.5 hours away. So we had no help.
Damn.
So it was like, you know, I got to lock myself in a room and try to write a rhyme. And I got to write a rhyme that's competitive with the world or better than the world. I got to get my tools sharper than ever and be one of the best. And then kids are jumping on your lap. And then, you know, it's like, it was really tough, you know, and it actually caused a lot of fights in the household because, you know, she has a job where she's a school teacher. So her job's serious, you know, she has to do her schoolwork, you know. And me, I'm like, I have to lock myself in a room and write. But it was like, I didn't have assignments that would do. So it was just, it was tough. It was tough trying to get a record done with 2 babies. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. A quality record with 2 babies.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I meant by big up, because it's just like any creative, like you said there about having assignments, stuff like that. I'm kind of like, a lot of my friends and my support network have got more serious jobs than I have. But the other side of it is you have to set your own deadlines. You have to set your own, you have to be fucking strong-willed to do something that only you're setting a deadline to. Do you know what I mean? So like you writing that bar probably doesn't mean anything as much as it does to you. You need to do this. So I feel you, man. I feel you on that. When we talk about fatherhood then generally, how have you, because they're quite young, your kids, right? So how have you dealt with fatherhood generally?
Yeah, my son's 3, my daughter's 4, and my son is amazing, but he's wild. And my daughter just loves me more than anything in the world, and she's my little angel, and my son's an angel too. You know, they love their father. They're good kids. They take care of their daddy really well, you know. But it's all, you know, it's all complicated, you know. It's then you fall in love with them, and then you got to go hit the road and tour, you know. And now the tours are dead. Yeah, so now you're like, well, how do I feed the kids? What's the next step? You know. So.
Yeah. When you have stuff like that, like that's very introspective, and hearing that stuff about your life. I mean, you've gone through a lot, so it's nice to hear you kind of dealing with that and expressing it. And it takes a lot to express something like that, I feel. The other angle you're bringing, though, on this album, stuff like Who Do We Trust, man? And hearing you with someone like, obviously, Immortal Technique, you guys are boys, I've heard, and also Immortal Technique's an absolute legend as well. But there's stuff like that, contradictionary, hate speech, Malice and Mammon with Chuck D. This kind of stuff that you are passionate when you're talking about what essentially is the search for truth, like a quest for truth. And I was just thinking, for yourself, where does that kind of need to voice these opinions come from?
Was spoon-fed false narratives about everything. And I discovered it early in my career. I saw it in the music business, you know. I saw like, wow, like they're really spoon-feeding the public lies about these artists and these celebrities, and everything's a lie. It's all fake.
What did you think it was going to be like before you jumped in?
Jumped into what? The music biz?
Yeah, so like you said, like you learned it early doors with the music biz. What were your perceptions of the music business before you got involved in it?
Oh, you just thought if you're good at music, you're great. The world's gonna love it, and they'll love you because you make great music. I didn't understand marketing, promotion, putting a plan together, ways to brainwash and program certain projects into the public's mind. I didn't know any of that stuff.
Right.
So what I'm saying is music's small. And that's where I first started seeing the lies and the deceit and the brainwashing of the public through the music industry and then the entertainment industry. And then when you start paying attention to politics, you're like, wow, this is the same exact shit as the music industry. They're putting these fake personas on. They're building up these fake people. They're making them do photo shoots and everything's a false fake narrative to make these people look like good people that want to help you and be a friend, but they don't give a fuck about nobody, right? So I started seeing all of that politically in the real world, the music world, the entertainment world. So then you start paying attention to what's going on in the world, and you see who they're trying to shut down. And that's the same thing as the music industry. We're like, wow, the actual threat is the person that the big machine, the political machine, is going to shut down the big threat and silence the big threat and silence the people that are trying to go against their narratives. And that's what the music industry was too, because they have to build up their celebrities as gods and icons and the greats. And anybody that goes against that narrative is the enemy. And they have to turn the people on those people, you know? So that's what happens in politics, where it's like, oh, this person might have an opinion or a truth that isn't supposed to be exposed. And the government wants the people to believe this truth. So then the government and the media and the big massive machine turns the people against the people that are actually telling the truth, because they want to believe the people who they're told to believe their whole life. And they don't understand the brainwash machine is in full effect. And you'll get a whole bunch of dummies listening to this right now, like, sounds like tinfoil hat conspiracy, because they're all idiots. They're all fucking brainwashed. And when you're brainwashed, you don't want to believe that you're brainwashed. So you want to think anybody that's pointing out that you're brainwashed is some tinfoil hat. Deprogramming is the hardest thing in the world. Once they're programmed, how the fuck do you deprogram them, you know?
That's interesting when you're saying that, because then if anything, this time in our lives is probably most fucked up right now on that sense. As in, the veil has slipped on a few things, including in the music industry. Like, why would someone sign to a major now? I'm not an artist, so I'm purely talking from a fan's point of view, but it's genuinely thinking, like, I hear the struggles from independent artists like yourself, and we had Open Mic on, and we've had independent artists on like Sky Zoo, and you hear these people and you're like, wow, it's fucking tough and it's a job. But then majors like now are nowhere near as big as they used to be in my life. I can go search you out now with no one telling me, oh, you have to buy this, you have to do that. Do you think this is going to change? You know, you're talking there about not just the music business, but not even American politics, just politics generally. Over here, we're having a mare with this whole COVID crisis. You know, people are arguing about that. Can you see there being some change? And what do you think would be the thing to change it?
Well, I think the internet's going to get regulated more and more. Actually, I think the people, the more powerful they are going to try to hide more and more truth every day on the internet. I think when the internet first started, anybody could go on there and say whatever they want and expose whatever they want and give whatever opinion they want. Now I think, you know, the people who really know the truth, who are the people who do know the truth but don't want to let you know the truth, those are the people who are allowed to let you know that this isn't reality. Oh, Snopes said that this is false. No, they didn't. Of course Snopes said it. Snopes part of the machine, you know. Fact checkers, which are in bed with all of the social media networks, you know? So they're fact checking and agreeing with you motherfuckers that own everything, you know? They try to silence anybody with an alternative opinion, you know? And I think that's going to become more and more. And the people fight for that as well. They go, well, yeah, shut them down. They're saying dumb shit, shut them down. Like, what? But what about when there's a voice saying some shit that needs to be heard? Shut that down, you know? But you don't. So if it's an opinion you don't agree with, shut it down. What about when it's an opinion you agree with?
Yeah,
times are crazy right now. Getting information is crazy right now, and that now, you know, with the internet as well, if you do have an opinion that's not the narrative or the opinion you're supposed to have, you know, they'll go on Twitter, they'll go on social media and destroy your whole fucking life and act like you're the worst person that ever lived. And, you know, you're a monster and you want, you know, people to die. And you have to have the exact same opinion as everyone else. Or else you're a monster, you know? That's the times we're living in, you know?
Yeah. Or if you're a monster to that group, another group will adopt you and you don't necessarily want to be with that other group. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, look, I'm just a guy or a girl here trying to just do, you know, think on my own level.
Yeah, that's the other thing, groupthink. You don't need to be part of a group. You could have 10 different opinions on 10 different subjects. Like these people all like, you believe in this, you must be a lefty. You must be a liberal tier SJW. Or, oh, you believe in that? You must be some crazy right winger. No, it's like, maybe I believe some of these lefties. Maybe I believe some of these righties. Maybe I believe some of these independents. Maybe I believe a little bit of everything. And maybe I think every one of them is full of shit in tons of different ways, you know? I hate the fact that, like, if you're supposed to be a real Democrat, you have to believe every single talking point that Democrats have. Well, you're not really one of them. And the same things with these whiny ass Republicans. It's like, yo, you're not with us on this. You're not one of us. It's like, yo, like people are allowed to have independent thought. And when they make these groups up, you have to be part of this group. And you have to believe the same subject that on, it's just part of the brainwash system, you know, like there's some people who are terrible people that might say something truthful, you know, and there's people that are good people that might say something terribly wrong. Yeah. And they're still a good person, but they might have a completely wrong opinion on something, you know, or their facts might be wrong, or they might have been, studied the wrong book and got the wrong information and really believe in that book and that information and could be completely wrong. But does that make them a terrible person? I don't know. Yeah. Think so, you know?
No, I feel you. And this is the thing about this album though. Like this is the kind of thought process you go through. I mean, you know that when you're getting someone like Chuck D on, when you're getting Immortal Technique on yourself, you spoke on this stuff from back in the day. It's an album that does provoke those thoughts. And as I was listening to it, you can get yourself down about it, or you can, I was very much more into my kind of political speaking. Now, sometimes I feel like you don't have to have an opinion if you don't know the knowledge behind it. It's fine to just sit there and go, do you know what? I need to read on that before I say anything.
Yeah, that's another fucking problem with this day and age. It's like, because of social media, everybody has to have an opinion. Because if something happens, they have to all of a sudden put their 2 cents in. They have to put their 2 cents in right now, with no fucking clue what's going on. Yeah. They don't have any idea. You're allowed to fucking be stupid. And, on a subject. Not everybody's an expert on everything that's happening in the world. And then if you don't comment on somebody, all these fucking vultures will come and attack you and be like, why aren't you commenting on it? You're like, yo, suck my dick. Suck my dick. I have to research it. Yeah. I don't know what the fuck it even is. Suck my dick.
Man, you should go on Joe Rogan, man. Like, I know people have different opinions on Joe Rogan, but sometimes his guests are really good. I can just imagine you on there fucking smashing it, man.
Well, they always tell me to go on Joe Rogan, but I don't know. If Pazzo, my boy Vinny Paz is on there.
Yeah.
But Rogan, I'm not sure. I don't have a publicist like that that could just call Joe Rogan. Somebody should call Joe Rogan, say, yo, let's get RA on it. I guess when the time gets right, I'll go on the show, when we're all allowed to do shit again in the world.
For sure.
Hey, yo, this your boy Farrell March, and right now, you are rocking live with the Crate 808 podcast. Enjoy this week's episode, and just remember to subscribe and rate and review. Peace.
You said working with Immortal Technique and Chuck, and And one of the things I pride myself in, this is like something I really pride myself on, is that you could take me and put me on a record with a Tech 9 and it feels like a Tech 9 RA record, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It feels good, you know? You could put me on with Atmosphere, you know, who's totally the opposite of Tech 9, and the record feels right. I like to be that chameleon and then you could put me on with the fastest young boy spitter Afro on some tech shit, extra special tech, fast, rapid flow. I could go faster than everybody too, boom, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then let's go on a joint with Immortal Technique and do the knowledge joints. You know, like I pride myself in to be able to write any style, any concept, and, you know, I'm a writer. So some rappers have their sound, they have their style, and that's what they can do. You know, I show you I could do it all. You know, I like that. I like it. Like I'll do a record with anybody that everyone would think, nah, they would never make sense together. I love doing records with those kind of artists because then we make the record make sense. And they're like, wow, this is way better than I thought it would be. Like, no shit. Professionals.
And that's the word. That's exactly it. Professionals. As in, this is a craft. You put years into this, right? You're on the new Four Owls album as well. And over here, they're massive. And, you know, we have Flip Tricks on, and hopefully we get the boys on as well on the podcast. And you do listen to that and you think, again, just seamless. Czarface, it's seamless. You're doing these, you're a feature king in a weird way. If we were looking at stuff like the reception to this album for yourself, I mean, everything's subjective. I'm not clued up on the digits or the sales or whatever. But just from my own personal timeline, you dropped this when there were a few other albums were coming out at the same time. Everyone was like, yeah, the new RA. And even I was tweeting like, I want to listen to this new RA album, but I've repeated the intro 6-7 times. I can't get past that intro. It's too fucking good. And that's genuinely was my experience of this album, was I couldn't stop listening to that first track. How are you feeling about it now that it's out there?
Well, you know, yeah, the response was unbelievably great. You know, like when it dropped, the whole world, that, you know, nobody was disappointed, it seemed. It was like, this is a masterpiece. This is a classic. This is the best album in decade. Like, it was really like overly hype, like, you know, like way more than Legends. Legends, when that came out, people were hyped too. They were like, yo, I love it. This is great, you know, and then through the years, one of the best albums, you know, but like this one was like, the second it dropped, the response was just spectacular, really, really positive to like every song, you know. It was like, wow. It was a good feeling because people were waiting for it, you know, and you're very close to a project. So, and you know, you've been writing it, recording it, putting hooks together, mixing it. Then after you get all the mixes right and getting live instrumentation to come in and you know, musicians coming in and playing and you know, you've been listening to it for so long, and then finally the mixes are done. And then you go to mastering, and the mastering changes the feel of the mixes, and you're like, oh, is the mastering the right feel for this album, you know, and then you live with the mastering and you know, you give notes back to the mastering, and then you just hope that everything's right, and you hope that nothing goes wrong. You know, you worked a long time on it. And then when you press the button and the world hears it, and they all say how fantastic, amazing, masterpiece, it's a masterpiece. Like I literally got hundreds of messages saying masterpiece, masterpiece, masterpiece. Like I've never heard a masterpiece, over and over and over. And like, so when you work that hard on something, that's what the fuck, that's what you want to hear. You're like, damn, god damn. You know?
Was it overwhelming? Like, I could imagine that being quite overwhelming.
Well, when the response first came in, I was overjoyed. Yeah, I was overwhelmed and overjoyed. You know, I said, okay, cool. You know, because you're not doing it for people that don't listen to hip hop. You know, you don't do it for like people who like top 40 hip hop and only like the top 5 best-selling rappers. And you're not doing it for those people, you know? You're doing it for people who love Wu-Tang Clan and Kool G Rap and Ice-T and people who came from the golden era, and people, maybe they might be 15, 18, 20 years old, but they love the golden era. And they you go on Instagram, you see little girls, like kids, rapping Poor Righteous Teachers, Rock This Funky Joint. Like, and another dude who got his daughter, you know, she raps like, you know, MC Light's lyrics. And, you know, there's the youth that love hip hop, that love hip hop. So not every youth is brainwashed by the dumbed down machine. You know, there are kids out there that you know, so it's not just for Ice-T and the OGs, it's for everybody, but it's for the people who love hip hop culture, not people that love top 40, music that plays with Justin Bieber and Cardi B. It's not really for them.
Yeah.
It's not for, it's for us.
Yeah, exactly. And the beautiful thing about what you said there about like kids, maybe I'm just a bit of an optimist, but like when I look at people, not hip hop's dead, but like, there's like old hip hop and now there's new hip hop. It's not even called hip hop anymore. It's called something else. Look at like rock as a genre. We're very young compared to something like rock because that came from the blues. And then you look at and you think there were people in the 90s and the noughties who look back at Led Zeppelin, at Pink Floyd, at the Beatles, and used it in their music. There'll be someone in the 2020s and the 2030s who goes back and checks an R.A. the Rugged Man album. Like there just will be, because there's just so much music now. And I feel like I'm quite comfortable that in rap you can cater to the kids. And I like new hip hop. It's all good. But I'm a 90s head, man. This is a 90s podcast. This is the whole reason we started it, is because we have certain pillars and certain standards of stuff we love.
Yeah, but hip hop is a sound that's timeless, It's a timeless sound. So we're good forever, we're good forever. They'll be listening to my records in 20 years, 30 years. They listen to my records from 30 years ago now, it's hip hop is timeless. So if you're not trying to make a trendy record, if you're making hip hop, classic sound, vintage classic hip hop type sound, that's a record you'll be able to put on forever, like a good soul album,
Yeah.
You can put on a Philly soul album forever, if it's classic vintage, so
For sure.
You could put on Brand Nubian album forever, that was made 30 years ago. You could play it again in 30 years, so yeah.
Hey, yo, what up, y'all? This is Prince Paul, and you're rocking with Crate 808 Podcast. Now, I want you to enjoy this week's episode, and just remember to subscribe and rate and review. All right? Peace.
So R.A. as well, other things about this album that also spread into like just your career. Hearing Reggie Osse on there again, I mean, that guy and that team, there's no words to explain how important they were to the culture. And you're boys with that show, you were in with that show. What are some of your favorite memories of that time and that show?
The thing is, more than the show, I don't remember doing the show so much. I remember, hey, you come on my show. Yeah, sure, of course, Reg. But more, I remember Reggie. That was my boy. He was my lawyer, I think 10 years before he was Combat Jack. Combat Jack came out years later,
Yeah, for sure.
So, Reggie was just a really awesome dude. And his partner, Ed Wood, was an awesome dude. These were awesome ass dudes, and they died way too young. And did you hear the shout out in Afterlife too?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I saw Eddie and Reggie, the True G's. I saw Sean and Albert, the 2 P's,
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, Combat Jack was a really good man. He was a father, husband, lawyer, successful black businessman, hip hop head. Loved hip hop, and it's everything you want in a guy. He was a good guy, and then he's no longer with us no more, and he's missed. People loved him,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all my heroes are dead. That's part of life,
Yeah, that's it. That acceptance is big, man, and I feel it more as I get older. You have to accept that kind of stuff, and you have to celebrate it. So I appreciate you were doing shout-outs like that, and obviously Sean P and people like that as well on the album. But we got you on. There's a few things I need to talk to, because R.A.'s film knowledge is huge. I'm a bit of a cinephile, but man, the fact that you're wearing is it like a Canon film t-shirt in the Legendary Loser video? That kind of thing?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
That's sick.
Yeah, I said something like, I've been the world's grossest since Hauling Old Roads hits.
Yeah.
With more ferocious explosions than rolling with Golden Globus. There's some Golden Globus shit in there. I drew the Canon group in there. Yep.
Nice, man. Nice. And also, obviously follow you on Twitter and stuff like that. I can't remember what it was, about a month or so ago, when you were sitting there with the kids just watching The Blob. And I was like, yeah, this is good dad advice. I can now watch The Blob with my kid.
Oh, yeah, the Blob, the original Blob, the kids could watch that one.
Yeah.
The remake, I showed them a little bit of the remake, but I try not to show them too much of it. It's got, some gore, but, because they're only 3 and 4. But the original Blob's good. They'll enjoy that one. We enjoyed Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D, and they like Freddy and Jason and Leatherface, but I can't show them the full movies. I can only show them like little silly clips and moments, and they love them, but you know, I can't show Freddy cutting somebody up, or I don't want to show the kids that yet, you know. So
for sure. Mate, when is the R.A. the Rugged Man horror podcast coming out? You've already interviewed people like Carpenter and people like that. Have you thought about doing stuff like that? Because your knowledge is deep, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I think my fans more relate to when I talk music stuff, you know? I'm not, you know, rapper guy isn't really that loved in the horror community as much as rapper guy in the rap community, you know? So I think whenever I do talk about films, it has like this little niche audience. Some people listen, but I think they prefer me, you know, the masses prefer me talking about hip hop stuff, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I love talking about movies. You know, anybody that wants to talk horror films with me, I'll talk it. You know, I won't stop. But I don't know how successful a R.A. the Rugged Man horror podcast would be. But maybe it would be. Who the fuck knows, you know?
I have a feeling it would be. As in, you're opinionated, you have good taste in those films, and then you think like, I've seen your interviews and you've written for a lot of different publications and stuff like that. I don't know. I could just see it, man. I could just see it. Yeah. I need to ask you, just as a person who was a horror fan myself, who are you more, Carpenter or Craven?
Well, I'm not a huge fan of I'm not a huge fan of either of their later work, you know. But I'm a really big fan of Last House on the Left and Hills Have Eyes because they were so small and there was no budget and they're just so. And Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, small budget, extremely smart in the middle of this whole slasher film world. Wes wanted to do things differently. So I think Wes is really, really like, he's an intellectual, you know? But I hated the Scream films. I hated them.
Really?
And I know that I'm not saying they're bad. I know people enjoyed them, but they just wasn't for me, you know? And, you know, I talked to Wes and he said, you know, they were more sophisticated. And I agree with that, I guess, but I'm not a fan of the Scream films. But Carpenter, let's see. I love the Thing remake, you know? I love Escape from New York. I love Assault on Precinct 13. I love Halloween, you know, the original. I feel like Christine.
Yeah.
I know people don't bring up Christine, but Christine is I love all the acting and dialogue and performances in that film. And I love the practical effects to make the car go. You know, it's a silly story, a killer car, but I think it was really well directed, and I like Christine a lot more than a lot of people. You know, They Live. I know it's considered one of his best now. I think I'm not a huge I don't think it's a great film. And I know that, you know, especially as a Carpenter fan to say that, but I think there's like 30 minutes that are like some of the greatest parts ever. You know, when he finds the glasses, goes into the bank, it's like movies don't get better than that.
Yeah.
But I think a little bit of the lead up and I think a little the last half hour, I don't think it goes. But that's just me. I who am I to critique Carpenter? The man. And I went to see John Carpenter live in concert, play all his scores like he's a rock star. I went to go see all his scores live, and he fucking killed it. It was such a fun night.
That's wicked.
You know, and it was good because, you know, the way the industry spits you out, chews you up, shits on you, doesn't let you work no more. You know, Carpenter always seemed a little angry towards the end of his career, you know, or a little bitter or whatever, which is rightfully so. You know, make all these classic films, you know, and then what does Hollywood do, you know? You know, so when you see him live in concert, you could tell he was having a time of he was having a great time. He was all smiles. He was getting all the love and appreciation he deserved.
Yeah, I feel it, man.
I guess between Craven and Carpenter probably has more titles that I like. But Craven, at his most degenerate, brutal, is more degenerate and brutal than Carpenter ever
100%.
was. You know, like Last House and Hills Have Eyes, really brutal. You know, and Nightmare on Elm Street. Halloween's probably better. Well, not probably. Halloween's better made, but Nightmare on Elm Street's a tad bit smarter than Halloween. You know, even though Halloween's the better made, more suspenseful picture, Elm Street's a little smarter. You know, and creative. You know, because as much as Halloween is great, you know, Black Christmas, and there was films before it, Nightmare on Elm Street kind of took the whole Halloween and then Friday the 13th ripoff after that. But they said, how do we do a movie killer but do it totally different?
Yeah.
And it's kind of genius. You go, yo, well, you can't sleep anymore. Now you can't even fucking sleep. They both did so much with what they had. Small budgets a lot of times too. Sometimes they got big budgets, but you know, I like when they had the little. But you know who's my favorite out of everybody? David Cronenberg.
Oh man, yeah.
I love him. Like I love everything he's done. Like so many of my favorite movies are Cronenberg. The Brood, Videodrome, The Fly remake is one of my favorite movies ever.
Fly's amazing.
Oh hell yeah, Rabid.
Yeah, man.
Crash. You know, History of Violence.
History of Violence is amazing. No one talks about that film anymore. It was a brilliant film.
Oh, great. And Crash was a masterpiece. But there's some 80s Cronenbergs that I'm told, you know, I know Scanners and stuff, but Rabid, The Brood, Shivers. I don't hate Naked Lunch, but I'm not a huge Naked Lunch guy. And then Dead Ringers was great too. I love Cronenberg because he was so good for so many decades, you know. So
I love that, RA. Thank you for going on that little journey with me to the horrorcore people that listen to this podcast. Like, what the fuck am I listening to right now?
I missed them all. You know, Stuart Gordon just died. You know, and Reanimator, and Toby Hooper's dead.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's sad times, man. You know, George Romero's dead.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. All my heroes are dead. You know, Wes Craven's dead. It's like, wow.
Yeah, when you put it like that, yeah, it's tough, man.
Frank Henenlotter is alive. That's one of my idols. Basket Case, Frankenhooker, Brain Damage.
You worked with him, right? I think did you not work with him?
Yeah, but that's because he was my idol. And when I was a teenager, I tracked him down and found him, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, man, RA, thank you for jumping on. Thank you for bringing this album to us. It's stellar, man. And yeah, before you go, there's just a few things we ask everyone who comes on. We didn't even dip into like the career in the 90s with you and stuff like that, but we'll save that for the next one, right? I was going to say, when you're looking back, we all love Wu. They broke the game. One of the reasons, one of the playlists we have for the podcast is a slept on Wu-Tang bangers playlist. So they have so much music, including their solo careers. Is there any Wu tracks or Wu affiliated tracks where you think that they need more love? They're a little bit slept on.
Yeah, the Hellraiser Renaissance Child album.
Boom.
The whole album. You know, play the whole thing. You know, Chain Gang, just play the whole album. And also Black Market Militia with Timbo King and Hellraiser and you know, Killer Priest. And there you go, Killer Priest albums. There's so many. He had an album called The Offering, which had some of the greatest lyricism ever, you know? So there's so many ridiculously dope Wu-Tang affiliate stuff, you know?
No, I like that. Hellraiser. Is it Project Jazz? Is that the track that he came out with? Fuck, man.
That was with Talib Kweli, produced by MF Doom.
Yeah, that was sick. That was absolutely sick. Well, thank you for bringing that, man. Hope you stay safe. Hope the family stay safe. But before you leave us, man, what's the last great piece of music you heard? Could be old, could be new, could be...
my boy Classified from Canada, he has this song called Good News. And I don't know, the times are so shitty right now. And I don't know, it's just a feel-good song. And it's like, I've been waiting on some good news.
Oh, man.
and just, I played it over and over and over and over again because... you know, you need something positive right now. And everybody in the world, we're all waiting on some damn good news. Give us some good news. So that Classified record just hit me right this week, you know? Man. So I called him up after I heard it. I said, yo, like, man, I'm going to tell him to play this shit at my funeral, you know, because I was feeling it like that. You know, I'm going to have this joint on my playlist at the funeral. You know, when I'm gone, let's say, like, I've been waiting on some good news. And I'm serious. It's like, right there. Really, 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 you know, like that record.
Wicked, man. Wicked. All right. Thank you, bro. You do you, bro. And thank you for the album once more. We will catch you on the next time, man.
Thank you. Thanks. Peace.